Welcome to Mighty Married Moms. Join us at our kitchen table twice a week as the Mighty Married Moms, Debbie, Linda, Wendy, invite spectacular guests to weigh in on staying sexy, vibrant, and healthy, building marriages with soul-satisfying connection, raising happy, healthy, successful kids. Conversations with Mighty Married Moms will bring you closer to the life you really want.
Episode 123.
Hi, this is Wendy Williams, and marriage happiness is way possible. ConnectAgain.org is very happy to sponsor Mighty Married Moms. We are partners in bringing you closer to the life you really want. Visit us today for marriage boosts at ConnectAgain.org.
Hi everyone, it's Wendy Williams from Mighty Married Moms, and I'm here with my colleagues.
Linda Tighe from allwellbreaksloose.com.
And Debbie Owen from youcanraisegreatkids.com.
Yep, and we just had a wonderful conversation, which we always do, with the marriage boss.
What a great name. I love that.
Awesome. I love the
oh,
name
by the
too.
name, his name is Rick Gabrielly.
Yeah, his real name is Rick Gabrielly, but he is terrific, marriageboss.com. And he had a really fascinating story about, he was pushing it hard as a sales guy, a marketing guy, Wall Street guy. And he really wanted to kind of migrate into being an entrepreneur. And so he turned to his wife one day, which I thought was just amazing. He turned to his wife and he said, "What am I really good at?" And she said, "Communicating in marriage." What an awesome tribute.
Yeah, totally.
Really, from a woman that's been married to, well, I guess he says he's been an entrepreneur for 17 years, so at that point was about 10 or 15 years into their relationship. That's a pretty amazing, like I say, testimonial. So that was really great, and he's taken that and leveraged it in a really cool way. And the word marriage boss was quite intentional because he's an Italian guy from New York City, so he's trying to leverage that notion that they're all tough and impenetrable, but actually he's found a way to really open up good conversations with men, women in relationships about that side of life and how important it all is. So he was a great guy.
Yeah, great interview. Great. Yep. Yeah, I loved his story about the youth sports, and he was talking about this other tough guy, and they were going to play good cop, bad cop, and after 3 years, this other guy had completely transformed, and it was because he said he likes the response that Rick gets in the way he relates to people.
Right.
And that's really key, isn't it?
Yes.
The response that you get from people is what's all about, that's the relationship. That's the basis of a relationship is how do you respond to them, how do they respond to you?
Yeah.
And Rick's approach was much more touchy-feely, huggy, affectionate. Yeah.
Right. Taking care of the kids on the team that were crying, and the other guy was like, let them cry. I don't know, just imagine, let them cry or whatever. But they after a few years of being together, this other guy said, I can see your point now. I can see your point. And I think that's really key, as I mentioned in the episode, is that that opening that is created for men specifically in parenting. And that's very different than our parents' generation and generations before that, where parenting, as far as men were concerned or being a dad was concerned, was not necessarily being a dad, but being a father, bringing home the paycheck, making sure that the kids were disciplined. The mom would say, "Oh, it's been a bad day. Well, let me take care of it, and I'll, hit his bottom," or whatever the heck happened. But it wasn't a parenting relationship, let's really build this and go out and throw a ball and all that kind of stuff. Whereas that's kind of coming more into modern day, is that drive and that need to be a really solid parent. And so that kind of opens the door to relationships and relating to other human beings in a way that is unique to our current day. Totally unique. Well, Debbie's looking skeptical.
I'm trying to think back. I think there's some truth to that. We're painting in broad brushstrokes.
Always. As opposed to being specific. Right, yeah.
So, I'm not sure that all relationships were without that kind of a connection. It's just I wasn't there, so I wouldn't necessarily know. I know my grandparents had a wonderful relationship. It was different, but
tell me what you mean.
Well, I know that they connected well and
between each other. I'm talking about the leverage point of men today being able to access. More men are able to access the desire to relate and to find that soft spot, if you will, inside them through the vehicle of parenting. That hasn't been a prominent point for men they haven't, pined for their children in a way that I think men today are more
That's
pining for relationship. And so it's opened up an opportunity to unpack and delve into people got along really well and loved each other and cared about each other's marriages, absolutely. But this tough guy, for instance, that we're talking about, what opened him up to not being Mr. Tough Guy, I'm sure his wife knew a different side of him at home, but generally what opened him up, I think, is the fact that is the parenting piece. And so that's all I was just mentioning. Yeah.
I'll take that. Sure.
And men used to feel their primary job as a father was to provide.
Yeah.
True.
Right? That was the
That's
primary.
true.
So
And
now with
actually,
women working,
they still feel that way.
they do still feel that way. It's definitely carried over, no doubt about it. And I've raised two boys, or am raising two boys, and when they were little, in particular, there was that, oh, toughen them up. Oh, don't be, don't let them come and hug you. And,
Really?
oh yeah, absolutely. It was really interesting, I thought. Not from everybody, but I was surprised that it was even in the psyche still. I was like, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I
So you
even
got that
had,
from people around you?
I did, and I remember my oldest son, I used to take him to this music group, and he just was clingy to me, was clinging to me the whole time. He was really shy about it. It was his first thing that I kind of put him out.
Yeah.
And I had a few parents literally come up to me and say, you are going to turn your boy into a sissy. And I was like,
Are you
what?
saying?
He's
Whoa.
2 years old,
Oh,
if he needs to hug me, I'm going to let him. And that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Of course, today he's very independent and he's not, clinging to me at all. And he takes care of everything that he's, I don't even know what he does with his homework or all of this stuff. He's like all on his own doing everything. Right. So I'm glad I followed my instincts and I didn't listen, but I just was surprised.
That is amazing.
That, and you still heard on the playground, boys don't cry, get over it, you're fine, and so just interesting that, so they're still programmed from a young age, whether it's from their parents or not, but it is thankfully, it's shifting and changing as I think women have gone out to work, right? And more people are becoming entrepreneurs now, and dads are staying home more, and I think they're allowed to be the parent that maybe they always wanted to be. Maybe they did pine for it back in the days of our grandparents, but they just weren't allowed to carry on that role.
No,
It
totally.
wasn't the role that they were allowed to have.
Totally, yeah, no, we're definitely learning things from one another. One of the things I've been really studying a lot lately is, I'm not going to say biology is destiny, but biology plays a much larger role in gender differences than I certainly grew up, listening to it. It felt like gender differences had much more to do with sociological role definitions, or how we viewed people, and so the culture made that determination. But there's a lot more that's actually biological in there, and one of the main things that I'm really unpacking a lot these days is women and men's reaction to stress.
Okay.
So under moderate stress, women actually, their cortisol level, which is a stress hormone, goes up harder and faster under moderate stress. Moderate stress for men, their cortisol levels don't really change that much.
Oh, interesting.
It takes high stress for men's cortisol levels to ramp up. And once they ramp up, then they get quote-unquote emotional. And we've seen men who are under extreme stress get emotional.
And they say, I've never cried in my life before.
Right. But it takes a lot more stress. And there's the biology for that, which is, I as a man, if I were a man, I can't let moderate everyday bumps in the road get to me, because I have to fight the lions, I have to kill the beast, I have to bring it home and feed the family, I have to make sure no marauders come in and kill the wife and the kids. Right, so that's a biological primitive response.
Okay.
So the men's response can't get there. But women's response is that way, and what do men typically say when women are like, oh my gosh, he got an F in his report card, or this or that or the other thing? What do men typically say?
Relax.
Relax, don't worry about it, we'll figure it out, and they want to just stop it because they don't have the reserves, they can't assign the reserves to that, they can't get jazzed about that. And so women interpret that as they don't care, they're not that interested, they're, I'm the only one that cares, I carry all the burdens, so we've learned.
Stress goes higher.
And their stress goes higher.
Exactly.
And their stress goes higher. So there's a lot to be learned and unpacked about what our responses to stress and how we release stress. Very, very different. And it's physiological, it's biological. But we, the culture, me, you perhaps, have assigned, my husband Jeff can be such a jerk sometimes. He isn't being a jerk. His body is saying to him, pull back, quiet down, don't get involved in this, because I need to reserve this for when the big crises come. Now that's all unconscious, obviously.
Sure.
Somebody's not thinking that.
Sure.
But it comes out as, they've done a study, you ready for this? You're going to crack up. I'm going to get the reference for it, but the study is you put a man and a woman at the end of the workday or at the end of the day on a couch, and they hook them all up, and they've done brain studies. The woman is, the minute she sits down, she's like, I shouldn't be sitting. That laundry needs to be folded, and I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta write this email, I gotta get this done, and so they're sitting there fidgeting like, I got so much to do. And they hook up the electrodes to the man, you know what's going on?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing. Literally nothing. So you know when we say to our husbands,
Interesting.
what, tell me what you're thinking about, what's going on? Nothing. They're not withholding anything. Nothing is going on. It's true. And that's because, you know what they're doing?
Tell me.
Their body is
Recharging,
replenishing testosterone.
Oh.
Men come home at the end of a day and they open the door and they go, oh, thank God I'm home, and they bring it down. A lot of men need naps, or a lot of men need to just chill out and stop and look at the TV, and we all go, "Urgh! There's so much to be done, and why am I the domestic animal here? Why can't everybody participate? And can't you see that the trash needs to be taken out? Can't you see that the snow needs to be shoveled? Why do I have to tell you?" Well, the reason is because the man's body is going, pull it in, take it back, because your testosterone has left the building all day at work. You're discharging testosterone all over the place. And I didn't know this until I did the study. Until I was learning more about this. Testosterone lowers stress in men. I thought testosterone made you, and it does. It does make you take initiative and go forward and be sexually interested and all that stuff. But it also lowers stress. And when any of us, women or men, are making cortisol, the body shuts down and stops making
Right.
testosterone for men, and oxytocin, which is our feel-good hormone, our stress reduction hormone, lower. So if people are under stress, so men's bodies are programmed at, once they're, hunkered down in the cave or at home, they are supposed to rest and chill. But it's so annoying.
Yeah.
And so we've learned to make it annoying. And what I'm suggesting is that we need to learn new things and find ways to work together that make sense, where we can replenish release our stress hormones and begin to rebuild the right stores. And there are physiological things that we all need to do, and women need to do a lot more. Getting their nails done. I'm being euphemistic here. Getting your nails done, talking to other women, having a cup of tea and sitting down and chilling out and talking with women. We should be looking much more outside of our marriage relationships to replenish our oxytocin than inside of it. Because if you're married, if they're two-sex marriage, there's a lot going on. It's a competition. So it's really interesting stuff going on.
So what happens to women if we have that hard time at moderate stress level? Does it shift or change as stress gets high?
Yes, it certainly does. And one of the things that for a man, as opposed to saying, don't worry about it, chill out. So a man is not sensing that Johnny's grades are, about to, your head's about to blow off. The best thing that a man can do, instead of saying, chill out, stop it, don't worry about it, email the teacher, is to say, really? So what do you think is going to happen if he does fail? And let the woman talk. It is about 10 magical minutes for a woman to process, get through it, and not have a problem solved, not have suggestions, just keep urging her to keep talking. And literally, he could almost be looking at his watch. And within 10 minutes, there's going to be a sigh of relief, and a woman just needs to process it and go forward. Like, okay, so what are the different scenarios if Johnny doesn't get his grades? Oh, yeah, really? Oh, I hadn't thought of that. That's interesting. So just allow her, encourage her to speak.
So that goes...
And bring it back down, and the cortisol is going to start going away, and the oxytocin is going to start building up.
So that goes to what I keep talking about all the time, and that is to have empathy for
Yeah.
the people in your relationships. You know, I talk about it a lot in terms of parents and kids, but it absolutely applies between spouses.
Right.
Just to say, wow, that must be really hard, or that
Right.
must be really frustrating for you, or what did you think about that, or how did you make that feel, or how
The
did that make you
empathy,
feel?
the empathy piece comes in specifically if in this scenario that I'm just
Yeah.
describing, I think as saying, oh, she's getting jacked up with cortisol and she's on the roof, and that's what happens with women under moderate stress. If a man could learn that, if we go around teaching this kind of stuff, and men can say, oh, that's what's going on. So the empathy is to say, not judge the content,
not judge.
but just be in the process and let that stuff naturally drift down.
Yeah, or as Rick said, which I thought was a great way to look at it, think of it just how you would think of a client, right? If a client gets upset, you don't go, what's your problem? What are you getting so upset about? You know what I mean? You would never do that. Or
No,
you would
right.
go, so tell me what's going on. Let's see,
Let's
let's
see what we
get through
can-
this.
yeah.
Let's see what we can do.
Right.
Tell me what you need.
Right.
Tell me what you need.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
That's
we would do
key.
with a client, or
Right,
a, yeah,
right.
or the
Yeah.
or the boss when the boss comes in and they're like, you know, you
Tell
won't
me
believe
what
just
you
what
need.
happened. Yeah, you're not gonna say chill out, kind
Yeah.
right. Yeah, so that's a really good point. That's a really good point. So yeah, there's just so much biology that's at work that we misalign or we misconstrue as being individual personality quirks that are like, you know, you're such a jerk. You are such a jerk. And well, I'm married to a jerk. How could you be married to it? You know, like women get together. Oh, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of it has to do with some very natural
That's
processes that need to be replenished.
That's interesting.
It really is. So cool. Really good stuff. Well, this has been good.
Yeah.
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 So we love
Is it
Rick.
over? Our time is up already.
It
I
is.
know.
It is.
We should just pull in one or two more last little tidbits that Rick brought to us also. So,
Yeah.
you know, just he was talking about how difficult it is for men to want to be able to talk about things. They don't want to admit that they've got an issue in their relationship.
Oh yeah, when he said he
Yes.
changed the name of his class
Yeah.
from Men and Relationships to Men's Health, all of a sudden he had a full room.
room.
Men in relationships, he got 0 people to come.
Yeah.
Or maybe 1, I guess.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And then we changed it to men's health and had a whole list of other things that men are
To
interested
talk about.
in. Performance, better, higher performing at your job, and da-da-da-da-da. And we'll talk about relationships at the very end. A whole bunch showed up, and then he said, so what do you want to talk about? And he said, everybody from 27 to 87 wanted to talk about relationships.
So,
Isn't that funny?
Really
so I
wild.
think my message
People don't like
is,
to talk about the thing that they need the most, right?
Yeah.
Because then they have to admit they have a problem.
it's so hard to
Yeah.
admit it to yourself.
Yeah.
And he also made a good point too, is that these men could tell their wives or their partner,
I'm going to a health
I'm going
class."
to a health class, not I'm going to a marriage class, where your partner, spouse, whoever would say,
Why?
Why? What's wrong? What's
Yeah.
going wrong? Right? There's the alarm.
You're gonna
comes
tell
up.
them and you've never told me? You know,
Yeah.
whatever. Right.
Yeah. So I thought that was a
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
interesting.
That was
Yeah.
a really interesting
Really
thing.
interesting.
Right.
And a good point of distinction for entrepreneurs too. If something's not working for you, try changing the frame.
Change the message.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
It was
Exactly.
good conversation.
It is a good conversation, and if you haven't heard of the Good Men Project, I always want to say it's Good Man Project, but it's Good Men Project.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful website with
Yeah.
amazing contributors, and
articles.
Rick is a good contributor to that.
Yeah.
So check that out. Men, women, I read it all the time. It is
Yeah.
one of the best
It's a great one.
websites out there. All right, everyone. Thanks, you guys, for
Yeah.
being here once again. And we're here from mightymarriedmoms.com, and we please give us a rating and review on iTunes. Share this with your friends and family. We know that we're bringing you some really wonderful people and really wonderful resources to have the life you've really wanted. So take care, everyone. All the best.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Mighty Married Moms. Tune in twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays to meet fascinating and inspiring guests who will help you create the life you've always wanted.
You can find these episodes and special gifts just for you at mightymarriedmoms.com, as well as a link to our Facebook community,
where we continue the conversation around the kitchen table. Please also help share the love by leaving a review on iTunes. We'll see you next time.